I don't really know what to say about events at Ellen Road, to be quite honest with you. Hi guys, it's JB here. Second of a new series, the JB Inquest show, and it's only going to be a quickie today because I want to make my feelings perfectly known about the referee in the Leeds match a couple of days ago. Obviously you have to move on because today's game, as I'm recording it now, and it'll be going up in about, as soon as I've recorded it, but at 6 o'clock tonight, we've got to forget about what happened and obviously move on to Sheffield United, which is a much more important game for us. But to say I'm still bitter 48 hours on from the game against Leeds is an understatement. I am very bitter. I've no bitterness against Leeds because I just want to make it clear from the outset that I don't begrudge Leeds the win. They had chances for their own free will to make it 2-3-0 when they were 1 up and all that jazz. I just want to make that point perfectly clear. I thought Melier played some really good pulled off some really good saves in the second half and all that jazz. So I've got no grudges with Leeds United as a club. So don't insinuate any Leeds fans out there, and I know Russ will not be one of them. Any narrow-minded Leeds fans, I know, not Russ, because Russ is one of the most better-minded Leeds fans I know. But I've heard we're running with a couple of very rose-tinted Leeds fans saying to me, "Stop being salty, stop being bitter," and as a result, I tried to point out the realities of what happened to him, and he wouldn't have it. So. And he called me so and so and such and such this and such that, and I thought there's only one thing to do with people like you: block you on Twitter. So I blocked him on Twitter because he wasn't. He felt that we were being salty over nothing, but quite clearly, as I'll point out in a couple of seconds, the beef is not with Leeds United. The beef is with the referee that day, Robert Jones, who, in my opinion. And it's my opinion that he should never be allowed to referee a football match ever again, because there was 2, maybe 3 decisions in that match on Sunday that really wound me right up. And when I say wound me right up, I absolutely mean that, because I'll talk about. There was 2 key incidents. Yes, I'm doing the 2 finger sign the right way, not the wrong way. Right? Incident number 1. Okay, the penalty that Leeds got. Ball gets played over the top now. At this point, I need to criticise Burnley and James Tarkowski. Why were they getting in each other's way? Why were they getting each other's knickers in a twist? I do not know. But to let a long ball go over your heads and then have a defensive mix-up, the 2 centre-backs, that wasn't healthy to start with. So I just want to make the point that Ben Mee and James Tarkowski do not cover themselves in glory on this. Anyway, the ball gets played over the top and Bamford is through. And Nick Pope, obviously exposed by those 2 comical centre-backs of ours, he has to come out of the goal and he's in no other position but to slide in and make a challenge and get a footing, which he did, and he got the ball, and the trajectory of the ball, where it went, he got the job done. He was going harmlessly to a Burnley player. It went straight to Matt Lawton. We were about to launch an attack, and the referee, for some peculiar reason, gives a penalty. And I've seen it from the naked eye a few times, and I still think every single time Nick Pope's going to win the ball. Now, I can only imagine he's giving it, presumably because Pope has clattered in, but that's natural. It's a natural movement when you're sliding in, getting the ball. Of course, he's going to collide with the Leeds player, but that's not enough for me to warrant a penalty being awarded against you. And I think that is a disgrace. It's an absolute disgrace, and I'm very disappointed with Michael Oliver, the VAR guy. I felt he should have overturned that decision, so I'm bitterly disappointed on 2 fronts with that. So you can imagine there was a bit of excuse me. I've got a little bit of a runny nose this morning, so I'm just trying to make sure it's okay. So you can understand my outrage at this, because it's laughable. You know what? I mean, a couple of days on, I find it more laughable than angry, because that is just not on. So we get that given against us, and then some 15 minutes later, we're on the attack. We get a free kick. It's pumped into the box. Ben Mee is running backwards towards the goalkeeper, who's coming out of his goal. Why he's coming out of his goal when there's Leeds defenders there, I do not know. Ben Mee has only asked for the ball. As you have seen about a million times on replays, he's actually running backwards to try and nudge the ball back. That's all he's trying to do. And Mellier's come charging out of his goal like a complete and utter rhinoceros. Inexperienced, I suppose. He's only 20, this keeper of the Blazers. But he comes charging out like a complete rhinoceros. Knees Ben Mee in the back, has no control of the ball. Barnes hooks it in towards goal. Now, any experienced referee will say advantage should have been played for the attacking team. But what's he give? He gives a free kick to Leeds, because Ben Mee apparently has backed into Meslier when he didn't do that whatsoever. He only had eyes for the bloody ball! And then he had the goal to say to Sean Dyche afterwards in a post when they were in the referee's office, "Oh, I thought it was clear and obvious." It wasn't clear and obvious. You got it 100% wrong. And as for your performance, you might have thought it was good, Robert George. I didn't think it was. I thought it was a disgraceful performance. Those decisions cost us dear. Excuse me again. Those decisions cost us dear on Sunday, my friend. Now, I would have, if I would have been interviewing after the match, I would have marched you out in front of the camera and absolutely bullied you with questioning on that, because you are not clearly fit to referee a park game, let alone Premier League. You're not experienced enough. You're not good enough. This is a big game. Leeds against Burnley is one of the biggest games. It's a Lancashire-Yorkshire thing. There's pride at stake involved in these sort of things. So why are the two decisions that you ballsed up on? It's not rocket science. And I just can't believe you. I hope you never referee a football match ever again, because that's simply not good enough. The performance was so bad that Keith Hackett, a former referee, said in a newspaper column that he would have teared lumps off him. Quite honestly, I would have done. Now, I've got a message from Mike Riley, the referees chief. You take him off the league list. You take him off any list, even park football, because that man is not even fit to peel spuds in a potato factory, let alone a referee a football game. It's not on. Just a joke, and I find it completely laughable. The referee said he won't respect. Well, if they start making basic decisions and getting them right every now and then, I might just give a few referees some respect. Respect is earned in this game. The problem with the football authorities, they wrap the referees up in cotton wool despite if they make any mistakes, and I think that's an absolute farce. Referees, for their mistakes, should be held accountable. If I made a mistake in a factory, or anybody else, if any decent worker had made a mistake in the factory or anything like that, and it could have resulted in gross misconduct or an accident or whatever, they'd have been marched up the office and got their cards. P45. Now I think this referee should get his P45. He has embarrassed himself in front of the nation. The game was live on television. He made two absolutely scandalous decisions against Burnley on Sunday, and I think he should be held accountable for that. But I'm sure Mark Riley will turn around and say, "Oh, put that down to experience." I don't care how experienced or inexperienced you are, those decisions should never have been allowed to stand. And the second one especially, blowing up far too early before Michael Oliver at VAR could get in there and actually say, well, actually, that should be a goal, or that should be a penalty to Burnley, or whatever. You should have played an advantage there. Doesn't make sense to me, but there you go. That's that's the way it goes sometimes. It's disappointing, but we move on. And now we've got Sheffield United tonight, and this is a very big game for us. Oh, sorry, Trevor's just texted me. Hi, Trev. Tonight's game, very important. We have to win this one, if I'm being bluntly honest, because Sheffield United, they've only got 2 points this season. We're at home, so, our home form's starting to, excuse me again, it's starting just to come together slowly away now. We've just got to, hopefully we'll get McNeil back and we'll get Brady back. If we can get one of those two back, I'll feel a lot happier about things. But the only way to banish the horrible memories of Sunday is to get 3 points this evening against Sheffield United, and we need these points badly. I'm sure Chris Wilder's side need the points badly. They haven't won yet this season, and I do feel for them a little bit because they had a very good season last year. But we need the points now. From a Burnley perspective, we need all 3 points, so it's important. I had to get that off my chest. I feel better for that now. But as I say, I don't begrudge Leeds the win because they did have chances by their own accord a couple of times in the first half to put the game beyond us. So, you can't really diss Leeds for that. Our performance actually was very good in the second half, but we have missed McNeil and we have missed Brady and one or two others. So hopefully we can get a few of those back for tonight's match, then I think all might be well again. But I just needed to say what I needed to say about Robert Jones because he's clearly not fit to referee. Okay, thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to leave a like. Don't forget to hit the subscribe button if you haven't already. And please, 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 for the love of God, hit the notification bell still, and then you know when we're coming up next. Don't forget, I've got Snooker 19 coming up on the channel in the new year. After all the football madness has died down, I'm just recording the first tournament as we speak. I've been busy the last couple of days filming the first episode. I'm not going to tell you who's involved, but you'll have to wait until the first episode to find out that the eight players involved in this first tournament. But there'll be some familiar names and some names from the present and some names from the past that you might remember. So watch that space. All right. Anyway, from me, JB, have a good day. Let's see if we can get 3 points tonight. Up the Clarets. Ta-ra.